spell menage a trois?
How do you spell menage a trois? Oh, we are meeting is now streaming live on Facebook. Oops.
I'll shut up then.
Great topic to
We're
start
talking
off
about
with.
menage a trois. And there are 3 of us. It's a little weird.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's it. That's me.
That's okay.
Oh my God, that's right. I didn't think of that. But that is the mindset of winners.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
Oh, yeah, that's what we were
So
doing.
there's your takeaway, everybody.
Nice.
All right. I'm going to find us online
Mhm.
so that I can monitor our discussions. Oh, here we are. Let's go to the discussion. And if you guys can hear my dog, her cat must have walked by. Sorry. And she wants to attack the kitty. Okay. Brian, of course, is our #1 guy. He's always there. Hey, Brian. All right. I love it, Alicia. My mind has already won now that I've joined. Oh, wait. Do you mean one? No, I'm sorry. It's an old joke. Okay, well, Gav, I have assigned you as the moderator for this evening's activities. And hear me.
That's right. You got double Lena.
I know. I'm trying to get it up so I can see the comments, but I don't know. Technology is not my strong point. It really isn't. So, but I can see that's 3 of us on the screen. I can see somebody coming, some of the comments coming through now. I haven't got my glasses on. So right, yeah, tonight we are going to be talking about the mindset of winners, the secret recipes of success, the things that we do get told and don't get told, all the good stuff, why people succeed. We're going to go into as much as we can about self-sabotage, self-talk. We're going to cover every area, patterns, as much as we can possibly get into. You know, I don't even know where we could end up going, because every week and every time we try this, we go all over the place. So welcome to everybody. I've seen 1 or 2 people, a few of the regulars. Good to see Scott here. There's so many names. I'm not going to call everybody off because it'll take forever, but thank you to everybody who came. Yeah. And more importantly, this week we've got our special guest. Yeah, this side.
Wait a minute.
Up here for me.
Hold on.
Oh, okay. So for everybody, yeah, it's up that side, I think. So yeah, Robin Dreeke, welcome. How are you?
I am well. Matter of fact, I was talking to Lena before you showed up, Gav, that, hey, we have our triumvirate of the mindset of winners. Instead of the behavior panel, you have us. So there you go.
Love it. I love it. And I love the triumvirate too.
The triumvirate.
Yeah, I really want to give a really a big shout out to John Paxton and his wife and thank him for that image. That was absolutely brilliant. I kind of got in touch with him and said, I desperately needed an urgent favor. Can you help me out? And he jumped straight on it. He asked his wife, and that was the result. So thank you so much. It really is appreciated. So
thank you, John.
Everybody's been impressed with it as well. So
it looks good.
Yeah. Greetings. Oh, from Maupardu. I don't know. I don't know where that is. That was John. Greetings from. I love it. You have your fans, Robin, here.
Oh, really?
Comments.
I don't have. I'm sorry, I don't have my stuff up, so you're gonna have to let me know. I have to try to.
I know you're fine. You're fine. Well, I'm going to be making sure that we address comments and answer questions. And Gav, right before we kick it off, so I know we're talking about the mindset of winners tonight. I found this, I was reading an article. I just love this. So I thought I would just share this quick little thing with everyone. And this is I'm going to read it. People succeed not because they are placed in favorable situations, but because they know how to work their way around them.
Brilliant.
So I just thought that was kind of neat, because how often do we say, it happened exactly the way I planned. I just happened to be there. I'm so lucky. Yeah. Sometimes we're met with things that we didn't expect, that we did not plan. And then we're like, oh my gosh. And it's how we navigate through all of that.
Which I think, Lena, is a great overarching thing, kind of like what each of us is talking about when y'all came on my episode. And that is, the winners never feel like victims. We don't whine, complain, or we just solve problems. And that's what leaders do. That's what inspirational people do. They're, as I tell my son all the time, there's no standard operating procedure for chaos. It's just, COVID was the greatest example of that. Every organization faced different kind of challenges. Families face challenges, militaries face challenges, nations face challenges. And if you're looking to the left and right, looking for an answer, you're probably looking too far. It's, come up with your own plan and solve that problem. In the military, in the Marine Corps, we had a standard thing when you first came in as a brand new junior officer, second lieutenant. They always, every time something happened, you say, "What now, Lieutenant?" Solve that problem, one problem at a time. And as a matter of fact, Andy Weir, who wrote the book The Martian, also wrote Hail Mary up there, which I read this year. Solve one problem at a time and eventually get to go home, or eventually get to solve that problem and move forward. So that you can't control chaos. All you can control is what you do about it.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And a lot of times when we're trying to control the chaos or handle a situation, that comes with the decisions we make and what can help us make those really informed decisions, like the right decision. And we'll get into that, everybody, tonight. I see a lot of people on. I just want to give a big shout. Scott, I'm so glad you're here. Dirk Cash, I haven't seen you in a while. Samantha, hi. I love the mantra. And of course, our usuals. I just want to give you guys hearty hello and thank you for being here. And of course, we have a super special guest star. So we're super excited about that, who I think you might be seeing more of. I don't know.
Yay!
All right, Gav, I'm going to kick it over to you. Let's moderate this talk about the mindset of winners.
Right. I'm going to give a quick hello to Scott Rouse and his father, who are having a few problems at the moment. I want to say that he's in my thoughts and prayers at the minute, and I hope that everything gets resolved and sorted out soon. I'm not going to say too much about the situation on the air, but all the best, Scott. We're thinking of you. And yeah, let's kick it off. So my way of dealing with things for many years has been, I don't have problems, I have projects. Okay, I don't look at things as being kind of, this is going to be an issue. And one of the greatest, you were on about mantras, one of the greatest ones I heard of for a long time was, giving up because of a problem is like slashing your 3 other tires because you've got a puncture on your car. It's one of the things where you've got to look at everything that comes to try you as not being one of those things where you go, oh, I can't do it because of this. You've got to take that can't do it attitude out of your vocabulary and say, right, how do I get around this? How do, like what Robin was saying, look at things from different angles. How do you get around things? How do you change things? How do you change your plan and adapt? Who was it? Was it Darwin who said something along the lines of it's so the survivors were the ones that will learn to adapt? I've not got that.
Yeah.
But it was something very similar. And this is how you've got to look at and face absolutely everything. If your plans get ruined, then it's just a case of right, we start again. Only this time I'm not starting from nothing. I'm starting with experience. I know what to do. I know what happened last time. I've got educated and see everything as an opportunity rather than a problem. So does that make sense? Have I done a good enough job of explaining that?
100%.
Yeah, you did really good.
And the most challenging thing I think that I faced, and I think a lot of people face, that are typical type A individuals that are used to being resilient, used to being resourceful and solving problems when we're younger. It reinforces our behavior of, I've got this. But in reality, the greatest minds and people that do solve problems, the first things they go to when they're faced with something that seems insurmountable or chaotic or that they haven't faced before is you slow down and you start thinking to yourself, what healthy, strong relationships do I have that I can also pump it out to them? Because a lot of times we won't have the solution that we're looking for. And if we get tunnel vision thinking it's only me that can solve this problem, you're going to keep looking like this. And you're going to miss all the other opportunities around you. And how do you have those relationships? By forging great trust. And before the chaos happens, that way, when the chaos or these challenges do present themselves, you'd slow down and you say, all right, folks, team, people in my life, here's what we're trying to move to. Who's got some ideas? And that's when the magic really starts happening, is realizing that we are not alone dealing with anything. The faster you can rely upon good, healthy, strong relationships because you forge them ahead of time, the faster you move through things and conquer and move forward.
I love that. In fact, what I'm going to do, if it's okay with you guys, let's drill down, because we're talking like with the frame of mind of a lot of C-suite executives and kind of, you know, leaders and that kind of thing. Let's take it right back to the bone, to your average everyday person, and start with their kind of thought patterns and their kind of situations and predicaments. One of the things I heard once I thought was absolutely brilliant is, you are the mean average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. You know, if you spend your time with 5 drunks, you're going to be the 6th. But if you spend your time with 5 millionaires, you're going to be the 6th. So, and this is exactly the same when it comes to anything like problem solving, thinking out of the box, success, that kind of thing. Find your team, your crew, spend less time with people. And I know this is difficult for a lot of people. If you live with negative people, if you live in a circumstance where it's difficult for you to escape, you especially if you're surrounded by negativity, it can be hard. But it doesn't mean to say that you have to stay there all the time. You're not a tree. You can go to wherever the hell you want. And even if you live there and sleep there, you can still get away. You can go somewhere else. You can talk to other people. You can meet other people. So with that in mind, you use that and use that kind of ability to go and find your peers, even if it's a new group once a week that you start linking up with at a coffee shop, and kind of an hour, and then you start looking forward to that week and build it up and build it from there.
Gavin, that reminds me of a story that Ellie Johnson used to tell when we were doing True Sisters Academy. Ellie, I miss you, girl, by the way. I would love to have you come on. She would tell this story about there were 2 girlfriends, and one girlfriend said, you know what, I want to get in shape. I really want to start eating healthy. I'm going to eat a new, diet. I'm going to cut out sugar and carbs, and I'm going to stop drinking alcohol. And I just want to do a whole detox and get on and get very healthy. So apparently every Saturday, these 2 women would get together and, eat a plate of cheese and crackers and drink wine, which by the way, I love, but anyway, so the one Saturday, the girl came over and said, hey, I can't eat this. I brought my own food that I can have, and I'm not drinking for a while. And the other girlfriend, instead of supporting her, saying, that is awesome, like, good to you, great willpower, she got mad, and she was like, oh, come on, just have one glass of wine with me. And so here, the message is, if you're not surrounding people who are positive and who have your back and who are going to encourage you and help you through change, whatever that may be, then they need to get off your bus. Because if they're going to anchor you down and keep you where you're at so you can't grow personally and professionally, they shouldn't be on your bus, And so it just reminds me of the story she tells, because I'm like, wow. And I've been in those situations myself, with probably a lot of us here have. It's just knowing who's supporting me through this change that I'm going through.
And then we build in the understanding as well, because I hear that story, Lena, and yes, we've all experienced that, I think, in our lives. And when I hear you share it, I'm also hearing, wow, here's an individual that is really feeling insecure about herself. So she's trying to grab onto someone on a sinking ship, the one that still is trying to convince her friend to keep drinking. Because, all right, here's someone who's self-medicate. Now, I'm not saying that to all drinkers, obviously, but here's someone that is desperately so insecure that she can't feel comfortable drinking alone when her friend wants to. So she's making it about her. So my brain's automatically now thinking, all right, what kind of trauma triggers are going on in her brain, and how can we touch a pain point there as well? So without judging it, without getting angry at it, we have information, we have data coming in for observations and what's causing that reaction. So yes, I'm just like you all. I just like, wow, we got lots of human behavior going on, and trying to understand it to make, again, that connection without blowing up relationships, because that relationship doesn't need to be blown up or ostracized necessarily. It's just meant to be understood, because when it's understood, it lowers our anxiety towards that individual. We can keep communicating when we need to.
Well,
hey guys, do you mind, Gav? We may have some new people watching us. Do you think we should just go through a quick little intro of who we are and where we can be found?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, I guess I'll kick it off. Hi, everybody. Lena Sisco. Most of you know me if you're in this tribe. Former interrogator, into human behavior and statement analysis, and a lot of leadership. I own the Congruency Group in Sector Intelligence. I do a lot of training, speaking, and my 3rd book's about to come out. So I will keep you guys appraised for that. It's Honest Answers. It's all about how to get the truth, especially when it comes to negotiating and interviewing. And that's enough about me. I'm going to toss it over to Gav, and then we'll toss it over to our guest.
Brilliant. Do you know what? Knowing both of your guys' backgrounds, I should have probably gone first. Because I know I can follow with you guys. Gavin Stone, former civil servant for the British Ministry of Defence, worked in the security and intelligence industry for around about 20 years, doing all manner of different things. A year ago today, gave up alcohol and stopped drinking. Well, hey, and I'm currently writing a fiction novel, which will be out soon. My non-fiction book has just been released, which is How to Tell If Someone Is Lying. And you can find me at gavinstone.us and on all the social media sites. Robin.
Enough for me. Thanks, Kevin. Thanks, Lena. I am Robin Dreeke. I'm the former head of the FBI Counterintelligence Behavioral Analysis Program. My job for my career with the FBI was recruiting spies, Russian spies, for most of my career. I was a Marine Corps officer before that, and I run my own company, much like Lena's. It's called People Formula, peopleformula.com, and I'm a leadership coach, trainer, speaker, 3 books out as well. And I have a podcast called Forged by Trust. And since Gavin jumped on it, yes, I've been sober for almost a year now as well. I've gone alcohol free. It's amazing the bad habits you discovered during the pandemic that just don't serve you as you get older. And boy, my brain is thanking me.
All right, so I'm the only one here who's still drinking. Great.
You can drink how
That's because you can. I started becoming allergic to it. It's not a good thing.
Well, here's the interesting thing that I've found since stopping drinking, and I've been told about this by other people as well. Alcohol appears to be the only drug where there is a social pressure by the other drug users to join in. And it's like, kind of, if you get a load of people who are heroin addicts and one of their friends stops and they say, I've been free of heroin for 6 months, all their friends who might still be addicts will turn around and say, you know what, good for you, well done. Anybody else that gives up any of these drugs, any other drug, or any other habit, or cigarettes even, they will turn around and go, well done, fair play. And if they offer them a cigarette and they say, no, I stopped a year ago, they'll go, okay. Where alcohol, you say, no, I stopped a year ago, they go, have one.
Yeah,
just one might work. You wouldn't do that to a smoker. You wouldn't turn around and say, well, look, just you stopped a year ago, have one, you've got to miss it. Or a heroin addict wouldn't turn around and say to another heroin addict, well, come on, just one more. It doesn't work. Alcohol for some reason seems perfectly permissible for people to put that pressure on you to drink when you either don't want to or can't, or whatever the case may be. But yeah, it's an unusual kind of way of looking at it. It's the social norms of society.
Fascinating. It's truly fascinating.
It really is. So right, anyway, I'm going to end up going way off topic. So what I'll do, I will get back to something which I've noticed, and you might be able to back me up here, actually, Robin, with a lot of successful people. When it comes to successful mindsets, are completely the opposite to people who are in that victim mentality, if you want to call it that. Yeah. And what you tend to get is the people in that victim mentality, the slightest bit of criticism, and they will either explode or implode or fall apart or whatever the case may be. Whereas if you've got somebody who's successful about something and, they take a project and say, what do you think? And you go, yeah, 1, 2, and 3 is really good. 4, not so good. And 5 is great. Most people go, they get offended. Well, what do you mean 4 is not so good? But the people who are the success people, they go, right, tell me about 4. Why wasn't it not so good? And tell me how I can improve it. And they don't get offended by it. In fact, they learn to love criticism, and this is something that if they can learn from it, bring it on. And that's something that, I've certainly spotted, and I'm sure you've probably come across the same kind of thing, right, Robin?
Guaranteed. You're hitting on exactly why people are magnificent, all varying levels, but the most successful are curious and humble. Yeah. It really comes down to that. Matter of fact, both of you all was, when I was chatting with you on my show, I was exploring, where did your curiosity come from? You were both immensely successful individuals with whatever you touch. Whether it's Lena being Indiana Jones or 007, or, Gavin, you being a skip tracer, government employee until it drove you up a wall, now a self-made entrepreneur. It doesn't matter what you touch. It's your curiosity and your humility to continue to learn and know that every day that you learn something more, you realize how little you know, and you got to learn even more. It's this self-perpetuating wheel of motion where every day, I think the most successful people are more humble every day and more curious every day. And it's really that simple, because curiosity is what innovates and solves problems.
Yeah. And of course, at the same time, add on top of that to the ability to be able to embrace failure. You know, to not go, oh, I failed, I'm never going to make it, and give up.
There is no failure. There's learning. There is no failure.
FAIL, first attempt in learning.
What is it?
First attempt at learning.
First attempt at learning.
Yeah, that was good.
First attempt in learning.
Okay. All right. Well, all right. So growth mindset. I'm sure you guys have heard that, right? It sounds like a buzzword. It sounds very businessy and very, ooh, if I'm a leader, I have to have growth mindset and strategic intelligence, blah, 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 right? But here's the deal. You do need it. And it's super important, because that growth mindset is a mindset that here's an opportunity. Here's a challenge or a change coming my way. Oh, it's a little, I don't know. I may have a little fear. Who cares? I'm going after it. And if I fail, it is a-okay, because in that failure, I will take out a lesson. And the people who don't have the growth mindset are the people who are faced with a challenge or an opportunity or change, and they have that fear overcomes them and overcomes their decision-making process to decide not to do it just in case I fail, which is not growing. Right? We grow when we say, I'm going to take this challenge. I'm going to do, initiate this change. I may not like it. It may be super uncomfortable, but I'm going to do it. And if I fail, I'm still going to love myself, and it will be okay. And there will be a lesson for me in that failure. And if I don't fail, awesome. Right? Here's what it's going to be. So I really think growth mindset, when you think of it that way, super powerful, because it really breaks down any, like self-limiting or self-sabotaging behaviors we have. And it says, stand aside. I'm going to go try this out and see what happens.
Yeah.
The key word you hit, I'm sorry, fear. It's such a poison word, fear.
Yeah.
And so that'd be my question, bounce back to both of you. And that is, so what do you do to overcome fear? Because that is the number one thing that keeps people from moving forward. And the most successful people in the world have mitigated fear. They have relationships that help them overcome fear. I can't remember exactly what book I read it in recently. It was a great question, though. If you didn't fear anything, what would you start doing today? So what would you do if you had no fear? No fear of financial failure, no fear of repercussions, no fear. What would you do if you had no fear? Start with that. And then how do you mitigate those fears?
Oh, that's good. That is really good.
And
fears can even be with something like a hobby, right? So when I was young, when I was 13, I almost drowned, got toppled by waves, blacked out underwater. Like it was pretty severe.
That's scary.
We had a swimming pool, and I loved being in the water. Even to this day, I'm a water bug. I just love being surrounded with water. But my parents, we were going on a cruise for the first time. My parents put us all snorkel gear, right? And so we were going to be snorkeling in the Caribbean. And I was testing it out. I'm like, how am I going to snorkel in the Caribbean when I have this like love-fear relationship with water? So I said, I know what I'll do. I'll take baby steps. And I'll put the mask on and the snorkel, and I'll stand in a 4-foot pool, right? And just put my head in. I did that. I hyperventilated, but you know what? And I ran to the side of the pool like I was dying. I was like, wait a minute, what am I doing? Put that mask on again and do that again. There's nothing wrong, right? And it was little baby steps to overcome it.
Who taught you that? You know me, I'm like, you got that from somewhere. Where did you get that? How old were you when you did that, Lena? That was crazy. That's really good.
I was 19, going on 20, 19 or 20, around there.
So I wonder who modeled that behavior for you. What do you think, Gavin?
Oh, Robin, that's it. Somebody did model that behavior.
Yeah, who was it?
Somebody, I don't know. You stumped me. I got to think.
Was it your grandmother again modeling the baby steps behavior to solving problems? Overcoming fears?
My other grandmother ran an entire business. Her husband, my dad's dad, died when he was 16. So she raised 3 boys, and she ran and started her own businesses. And let me tell you, that woman, very, very scary. But yeah.
You see how amazing it is when you actually figure out and listen to someone's background. Of course you are who you are. You're a product of these amazing people in your life, like Gavin's amazing product of his life, and bouncing around all these different schools, having to read all these nonverbal behaviors from everyone he's engaging so he can understand and fit in as rapidly as possible. Of course you're a skip tracer. Of course you're a spy, talker, recruiter, knower of lying and deception. It's because you were born doing it for your entire life.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I literally grew into the position. So, but that what Lena just said goes to exactly the same way the thinking that I had. The military terminology for it was exposure equals composure.
Yeah.
They had this thing where you got taught, you know, that if you're frightened of something, then, you know, basically expose yourself to it as much as possible, even if it's in small amounts, and just each time make that amount bigger, longer, further, whatever it has to be. And you've heard this thing, and so many people turn around and say, oh, push yourself out of your comfort zone. And what a lot of problems are in the world with people is they say, yeah, I'm going to push myself out of their comfort zone. And what they don't realize is they push themselves to the edge of their comfort zone. And then they're kind of, yeah, I did it. I'll stop now. And this is where I do this thing where I say, you know, push the extra few inches. That just sounds awful. Right. I'm gonna.
I see you going down the road of atomic
Yeah.
habits of James Cleary again, going through atomic habits, small changes at a time. I knew where you're going with it.
Probably bringing it back.
When we were talking before, Lena, about like the hot and cold showers, about how it's good for you to like go from a hot shower to a cold shower, and kind of flick it from hot to cold, and then like kind of staying there for, you know, 10 seconds or whatever. A lot of people can go, yeah, there we go, I did it. I stepped outside of my comfort zone. You know, I cold shower for 10 seconds. But instead, really, really push yourself past your, you know, kind of. So when you flick it over to cold, if your like aim is to do 10 seconds, or get to the point where you are uncomfortable and you're at the point where you go, right, I don't like this, I'm out of my comfort zone now. And then when you're out of your comfort zone, count to 10. Then you've gone beyond your comfort zone, and, you know, and this is where you're going to get that, you know, little bit extra to know that you are stepping out of your comfort zone, not just going to the edge of it, you know. So whether it's, you know, an extra 10 seconds in the say case of a cold shower, or it's an extra few minutes with a jog, or whatever it is, just go that little bit further to the point. When you're at the point where you'd normally give up, or you'd normally stop, and you'd normally say that's enough, that's when you turn around and say, right, I'm now going to count to 30, or whatever the case may be, beyond that, and go that little bit further.
So Gab, what do you think we could share with everybody, and Robin too? Because we're always trying to take everything that we talk about and make it tangible for you guys. You can actually use it in your everyday lives. So what do you think are some good ways to start going that extra mile beyond the comfort zone? You mentioned the cold shower. I don't know if everybody knows what that is, but maybe there's some other things that we could do in our everyday lives to just say, you know what, I'm going to push it a little further.
Yeah, for me, I would say, kind of on the theme we're talking about, let's first identify what are our fears. And if you didn't have any fear, name 3 things that you would do, that you would start doing if you had no fear.
Okay.
And then once you come up with those 3, and then one of you have those 3 things, then actually start thinking to yourself and writing down, what do I need to start doing so I overcome that fear?
Oh, that's good.
I like that. In fact, while you were talking about that, it reminded me, for some reason, I've talked to a few people about the jobs that they've got, and I said, do you like your job? And they go, oh yeah, I like it, you know. And I say, right, okay. And I'll say, are you happy? Then, well, probably, yeah, you know, it pays pretty well. And I say, okay, if every job in the world all paid exactly the same wage, would you still be doing that same job? And they went, oh no. And it's like, okay, if every job in the world, every single job, paid in exactly the same wage, what would you do? And then they go, oh, okay, now I'd be X. And that's when they turn around and say to themselves, actually, that's obviously what I wanted to be all the time. You know, I'm doing this because it pays the bills, but what I want to do is that. So there's so many people, you know, they turn around and say, you know, what would be your ideal job? And they go, oh, I'd love to be a professional football player. I'm like, okay, well, what if it didn't pay, if it was only voluntary? I don't know. I don't think I'd want to do it. Then you don't want to do it. You know, so it's changing that mindset, and that, for some reason, when you're talking about fear, that seemed to kind of come into my mind, because it's also finding the happiness in what you're doing as well. So you've got fear on one side, but happiness on the other, and you've got to balance the two out.
Use that great word, happiness. And so there's another good exercise you can put in here with it, besides identifying the fear, is understand the dichotomy and the difference between seeking pleasure as opposed to seeking happiness.
Oh, yeah.
Pleasure is materialistic. It's pleasure is satisfied by money that you make, by a vacation you go on. But those are things that are tangible and tend to be material that are fleeting. And people are thinking that they're constantly seeking pleasure. But that's why people that win millions of dollars often are the most unhappy people in the world, because they don't know what makes them happy. And so that is the next challenge that I put to you also, is define, if you were to wake up, if this was going to be your last day on this planet, so this is beyond a bucket list, this is it. You have 24 hours left. What makes you happy? Yeah. Mine is really simple. A great conversation.
Mhm.
Think about it. A great conversation is one like this, where you have these great interactions and you see people's eyes light up, they're smiling, and you're sharing an experience, and you see the energy that they have and the excitement that someone else has for life. And especially if it's your kids or your children or someone you love or care about in your life, and you see that joy and happiness, that is a perfect happy moment. So wake up every day, saying to yourself, that I say to myself, how can I strategize and create a great happy day by having a great conversation with at least one person today? Everything else can fall into place.
Yeah.
Love it, love it.
I really like that.
I know. Now, all right. So now, Gav, what's yours?
Oh, I know. I got a couple. I'm going to start with challenge yourself to see the beauty in different. And what I mean by that is, I love that.
It makes you curious. That's
Wiggle.
Curiosity coming out. I love it.
Yeah. So I got lots of different friends from different walks of life. You know, I'm friends with the mayor, and I'm friends with the gothic girl that lives in the next street up. You know, two completely different personalities, and yet, you know, I can literally be having a conversation with one, and 5 minutes later having a conversation with the other, and it doesn't matter whether how somebody presents themselves, how they look physically, or what their mindset is, or anything else. I want to look for the beauty in them and see the beauty in that person, you know, because we are a very judgmental society, unfortunately, especially in the Western world. It's just naturally, it's something we do, whether we're aware of it or not. We tend to profile people. In fact, we had a conversation about it earlier in the meeting when we were on about the shoplifters. And there was a group, and what they did is they got couple of teenagers, really scruffy looking teenagers, to go in and hang around in the store to grab the attention of the security guard, while two you know, clean cut, nicely dressed old pensioners went in, and they were looting absolutely everything. These pensioners were taking all the stuff of value, while the security guard was watching these two scruffy looking teenagers. The old couple would then walk out and get in the car. The two teenagers would come and jump in the back seat, and they'd all drive off together. And that was how. And this is the way society is. We are judgmental. We do look at people and go, they look dodgy. So for me, I like to look beyond what's aesthetically in front of me and say, right, what's underneath? What you know, what's within that person? What can I get to know? Because you've heard the saying, nobody's the bad guy in their own story. You know, this is something that I want to get to know the good person within that shell, as it were. So
discover their greatness.
Yeah, that's the first one. And then the next one, and this is a completely different, I'm going to go way off here. This is something where look at all the things that have happened to you and find a way to take the blame when they went wrong. And look at all the things that do happen to you and continue happening to you, and find a way to take the blame. And when you do, when you say, hang on, was that my fault? How could it be my fault? What did I do? Where did I go wrong? And then you've got a totally different outlook, because when you know where you went wrong, you can change it to put it right. So
extreme ownership.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Right there.
So even if it's not your fault, find a way to take the blame. Do it. Make it happen.
We all play a role in our lives, in the lives of others. What are yours, Lena?
All right. So what makes you really happy, and I have recently discovered this, is when I can share a knowledge nugget coming from my students. They coined that. I love it. A knowledge nugget with someone, doesn't matter who you are, that becomes life transforming for you. And when you come back to me and say, you're not going to believe what this did. And I'm like, really? And for me, it always amazes me the amount or how much it can affect someone's life. Just this little teeny thing that I've known forever that I shared just because I wanted to. And all of a sudden they come back and like, wow, that to me is the best feeling in the world. I absolutely love that. Love it, love it, love it.
And there's an underlining theme with all three of these things. It's others. It's being of service to others.
Oh,
It is the most gratifying thing. And I would have to purposely do this. And I told other people do this during the pandemic. If you are starting to feel low, you start to feel down, the first thing you need to do is be of service to others. It makes us feel so good. This is why servant leadership is so addictive when you're doing it right, because when you actually are literally placing others before self, and this isn't about, being a martyr. This is actually just looking about and finding the pain points, challenges, and priorities of others and figuring out what you're going to do to make it easier for them, make their jobs easier, help them overcome their challenges. It's why, going back to our alcohol-free discussion before, every single 12-step program out there in recovery has a step of service, because that is when you actually get psychologically good.
yeah. I love that.
Yeah, because
I also, sorry, Gavin.
You go.
I like to be, talking about that whole victim thing is back in the day when I was younger, I blamed everybody for my inappropriate actions or whatever went wrong. It was never my fault. And then
I have such a hard time seeing that in you. Go
Oh,
ahead. I'm sorry.
I changed. An event happened and I 180 and I've completely changed. And now I look at things and I'm like, okay, what did you do? What did you say? How did you really sound? What were the words that you used, Lena? Would you have liked that said to you? And so it's like, I kind of do that devil's advocate and I'm like, you know what? And the other thing is too, I'm Italian. I have a temper and I can get very hot-headed. But the thing is, and I used to tell myself this story that it made me feel good to be angry and just, lose control. It doesn't. It has never once brought me anything good. And so when that little voice goes, oh, Lena, lose control, it's going to feel so good. I'm like, stop. It's destructive. It's not going to do me any good. It's not going to do anybody else any good. What's going to make me feel good right now is taking a mindful, calming breath and clearing my thoughts. That's what's going to make me feel really good.
What was the event? I was going to link it. I'm locked onto those
Robin,
things. I love it.
Let me tell you, you have a knack of just going drilling right down to release it. All right.
But you said it. I want to know what it was.
Set you up. So I write about it in my first book. I'm always preaching this story. I had a student, her name was Lisa. She's an amazing human. She came to me. I was teaching interrogation for DIA at the time, and I was under a lot of stress, and I slipped into my very thinker, as decision making, a very directive communicator. And basically, even though my heart was to train all these students to be safe when they went overseas, I wasn't that nice. And she came and told me, she was like, listen, I need to give you feedback. Are you ready? And I'm like, yeah, sure. What? She's like, you're kind of mean and people didn't like you. And I'm like, how could they not like me? That's all, and it just hit me by such surprise. I'm like, oh, I better take a deeper look inside me, and then it started this whole evolution for me. I guess becoming the person I am now.
So I'm curious, when you were younger, did you have it then, or did it happen? Did you kind of evolve into it and then you had to lose it again? Like when you were 19 and you were problem solving on the side of that pool, that is not the behavior of a victim. That is not the behavior of someone angry. And then, so something happened in there that it kind of evolved into anger, which lashed out. And then you had that aha moment again. Was there anything that you can really think of that started forcing that evolution?
I think it was progression. I just think your childhood in high school, I was the weird one. I dressed all in black. I spiked my hair black. I was shy and people judged me.
You were shy.
They judged. I know. Trust me. People,
who is this woman?
They're like, were you the Lena Sisco and the one I knew in high school? I'm like, yeah, that was me. But yeah, and I got judged. I knew I was being judged because I looked really different. But the thing was, I was like, that's right. Look at me. Look at me. This is how I like to dress. If you don't like it, it's your issue, not mine. And so it's had to, and I was like, that's a little girl. So is it in me? I don't know.
A little trauma was coming out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Robin, I think if you hadn't gone the route you have gone, I think a therapist would have been the ideal job for you, you know.
Yes. Oh my God.
But,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
much like both you, back then you would not have said that. I was, I could have been a close cousin of Lena's. I mean, my judgmentalism was spiked high. I'm an extrovert from New York. There's no overcoming it. It
is what it is.
Well,
Yeah.
Joe, I haven't got my glasses on. I'm gonna put my glasses on because I think we've actually missed loads of questions. I don't know.
I'm
I
sorry.
can
We
check
we
too.
digressing on each other.
I
Gary
know.
goes, Lena, you rebel. I was a rebel.
Yeah, we all love rebels. So, all right.
Rebels are problem solvers. Jim Madison, his book Call Sign Chaos. I love that book because he talks about in organizations that are so full of hierarchy and structure, they generally don't like the people that see around corners and see the world differently. He said he identified them early and protected them because they're the ones that are going to help you solve the innovative problems you need to solve to move forward. So, yes, the rebels hold on tight because now, granted, you might have some control issues from time to time, but they're the ones that if you can make those connections, they'll help you.
So I want to share a comment, guys, from Julie. She said, my granddaughter was having a hard day. So we went to the store and bought a small gift for someone just because. And I tried to explain her what the value of that was.
Perfect.
Love that, Julie. I love that.
Perfect.
Love that. Yeah, it was amazing.
Someone asked me the other day, matter of fact, it was because of Gavin's episode where I had the clip about how you can train your children to be safe by teaching them spycraft. And everyone's like, oh, I get this a lot. We need training for kids. How can we do more kids shows? And Lena, what you just said there is such a great skill. If you want to foster great, healthy children, teach them at a young age, service. Don't focus on trying to make yourself look good, which I was a great person for. I thought my success in life would come from making myself look good. No, success in life comes from being of service to others, to making them look good. It's good for you up here. It's good for them. And who doesn't want that person on their team? When you sit back and look at the most successful people in any career field, they're the ones that actually had no problem putting others up, helping others. When I first realized that in the Marine Corps, that my job as an officer was to make sure that these Marines were more successful than me, is when I finally got it. Yeah. And I finally said, wow, it's not about me. And unless you can taste it the first time, it's very hard to contemplate.
Yeah, pushing others and seeing their success, and your success is through their success. It's a domino effect. In fact, Robin, you said something to me the other day about when you were saying about training my daughter. I mean, one of the games we play, for example, we do a color game, and every day I'll give her a color, and we've got to go around whether we're walking through town, whether we're in the house, whatever. We'll pick, say, the color green. And we'll look around the house, and we will look for anything in the house or in the shops on the route in the car that's green that we've never spotted before. We've probably driven past it, 1,000 times. But all of a sudden you start seeing things, and you go, "Oh wow, look at that! I never saw that green, work box there before. It's probably been there 20 years, and I've never seen it." And then the next day it's like we'll pick red, and you go, "Wow, look at that red alarm box! I've never seen that. It's been on the side of that big white building for all these years, and I've never." And what it does, it increases your observation skills.
Yes,
so much. And we play this color game every day, and she loves it. But when you were talking to me about how do you keep that curiosity thriving, the word is involvement.
Yes.
If I just give her the color and said, right, off you go and play it, it's not going to be the same. Like when we've played the silly plate game and the other things I mentioned, it's because we're backwards and forwards. It's the involvement between the two of us rather than kind of, you go and play that, off you go. And so that's where the curiosity stems from. And obviously the reward of well done when she spotted something.
And that goes into a key element to leadership that I absolutely love, that if you don't have any skills whatsoever in life, there's one thing you can do: be present.
Yeah.
It is huge. And Gavin, by you giving the assignment and then just being present to interact with it, that is so massive. And besides that, you're also training your daughter for learning the color of the day so she can stay safe. You got the code words going. I mean, what you do with your daughter is so amazing. Man, if I could do it all over again, I would do so many different things with my kids based on what you shared.
Yeah.
Alicia just said focus equals currency. Yeah, brilliant. Very true.
Focus equals currency. Is that what you said? Focus equals currency?
Oh, yeah.
I love that.
In the comments, yeah, that was fantastic. So
that's fantastic. You're right. Focus equals currency.
I
You get
love
one Gavin buck for that.
totally redeemable in
I love it.
nation.
Gavin's giving
right,
out Gavin
so-
bucks to his daughter.
Brian has a question. He says, you know what? Ask Robin who made the biggest change in his life.
Ooh.
Ooh.
That caused me the biggest change in my life.
I think that, so the question reads, ask Robin who made the biggest change in his life. So I guess who impacted the biggest change in your life?
It's such a long list. Depends on what aspect you're talking about.
First one that
I would-
comes to mind.
I have two. I have probably two Marines that had the biggest impact on me, and one that saved me, and the other that gave me a aha moment. The one that saved me actually is speaking to my son tomorrow at Quantico. His name's Lieutenant General, retired Lieutenant General Larry Nicholson. He was a company officer, a captain at the Naval Academy. Saved me at my last academic review board where they wanted to throw me out, and he was a Marine of presence. He was just always there as a young Marine Corps captain. He just had this, he inspired such loyalty by his actions of presence, and he was humble yet confident. Great dichotomy. The other one was he was also at the Naval Academy with me later at my squadron in the Marine Corps, and this is the one that I talk about all the time, where I was ranked last out of all the second lieutenants. And he said, and I had said to him, again, owning it, I suck at leadership. What do we need to do? And he goes, that's easy. Just be a better leader. I was like, how do you do that? And he goes, well, you need to make it about everyone else but yourself. And I was like, I don't get it. I thought I was. How? And he goes, figure it out. And he's just literally laid down that gauntlet when I was 23 years old, and it was my lifelong pursuit. So one that saved me and one that laid down the gauntlet. I'd say that began the journey of understanding I need a lot more humility and I need a lot more curiosity to figure this out.
So Gav, do you mind if I ask you the same thing?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, because now, it's Robin, our incidences or events are kind of similar.
Mm-hmm.
It's somebody who said, I'm going to give it to you straight and you're not going to like it. It's going to be a hard pill to swallow and you have to figure it out.
Oh wow!
So
See, when you say who's had the biggest impact on me in my life, it's probably going to be Johnny Five, because if he could figure out how to be more human than a robot, then I probably could too. So,
who's that?
25. I don't even know who Johnny
come on, you've seen Short Circuit, haven't you? You remember the
Short Circuit. Wow, that's a way back one.
God, nope.
You've never seen Short Circuit?
I've
Really?
seen it, but right around the same time I saw, War Games in the Whopper that we were talking about with Lena.
Oh, okay. All right. I got to go back in time then. Okay. All right.
I right now I spoke to Robin about this. I'm reliving the 80s through my daughter. We're watching all the films that what was the Back to the Future, the Gremlins, all that. We're watching all of this.
Weird Science.
Oh yeah.
Weird Science.
Yeah, absolutely.
Trust me, I know them all.
And of course, I loved all this, so much so that I'm now getting to do it all again, because she's at the age where it's not corny, it's not like junky old movies. She's actually still loving it, and she is starting to outgrow it a little bit now. But the last few years, I've loved it. I've gone all through the 80s and 90s again. It's been fantastic. So yeah.
And you also avoided my question.
I know. I thought I got away with
You didn't hypnotize me.
Go back, interrogator. You got it.
Out there. With an interrogator.
Biggest impact on my life. Do you know what? This is probably going to surprise you, and not only the answer, but how it all come about and what happened. And it was a life-changing moment for me. A few years ago, my dad had a heart attack. And it was really, really bad. And we live in England, so the ambulance luckily made it there in just over 4 hours. And they diagnosed him when my mom dialed the emergency services as having a heart attack. And They said, we'll get an ambulance out to you. And he was getting worse and worse. He was in a really, really bad way. And the ambulance eventually made it out to him. And it was, I mean, he'd actually died, and they'd given him an adrenaline injection that managed to bring him back to life. He was in a really, really bad way. And he said to me when he recovered, and the words stuck with me, it was really weird. He said, you never know what my final thoughts were before that kind of moment of passing away. It was really, really weird. He said, I'm never going to feel the breeze on my face again. And it was the weirdest kind of thought. Of all the things you would think or expect somebody to think as they're dying, that wouldn't be it. And from that moment, it changed my perspective. And whenever I drive anywhere now, I just put the windows down on the car, just down a crack, to appreciate what's around me, to appreciate the life I've got, to feel the breeze on my face. And
see how simple happiness can be. That's
really
why a good conversation, a breeze on your face, focus on really, when you have that exercise from that I gave you all before, keep it really simple and pure. That's a great one, Gavin. Thank you for sharing that.
No problem. I mean, that's actually the first time I've ever spoken about this publicly, but it was really life-changing for me, because it did kind of put into perspective that sometimes we're that busy chasing happiness that we forget to live in the moment and just enjoy the simple things. So yeah, you're right. Make it simple, make it easy, and enjoy that little bit of happiness, that breeze on your face that we take for granted every day. Sometimes is, like I say, is your dying thought. So right, let's change the subject, because that's really got really morbid really quick. So let's
it got beautiful power of now.
It was life changing. So how are we doing for comments, everybody? And is there any more questions, and is there any more topics that anybody would like us to discuss next week?
Stop and smell the roses. Yeah, sometimes we just need to slow down. That's it. So I was talking to somebody, just moved, renovating inside, outside, landscaping, blah, 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 blah.
Doing a great job, by the way. That room is looking fantastic.
Oh, well, thank you so much. But the other side that you don't see is even better. I'm almost thinking of switching. Anyway, and my neighbor moved in a couple months before me. She's like, I know, isn't it exhausting? But she's like, Lena, you just got to stop for a little bit, take a look around and sit with it and enjoy it. She's like, you have a gorgeous place. What you've done is amazing. She's like, then pick it up again. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. And I'm racing against myself. Why am I doing that? Right. I'm creating all my stress. Like, I gotta. And I'm like, well, who's saying I got it? Only me. Right. And so just everybody out there, if you feel like you're putting yourself under too much stress, or you're having time constraints, or I have to achieve this, and I have to do that, sometimes just pause for a minute, settle and calm your mind, enjoy the people around you and what's around you, and then get back on track again. But yeah, being present helps us be clear. It helps with our awareness. It helps so much.
Yeah, I love that, Lena. Sometimes you've got to stop and ask yourself, when you say, oh, I have to get this done. The word in there, stop and ask yourself, do I actually have to? Or would I like to? Or would somebody else like me to? Or, do I, what's going to happen if I don't? And kind of question it a little bit and say, hang on, am I putting unnecessary pressure on myself to achieve something that doesn't need doing right this second? That isn't a priority.
My last couple of years in the FBI is really funny. I had a big bucket of no. I literally had a waste can next to me. I had a waste can next to me, and the word no was on it. Anyone came in that was going to cause something that was, I just thought was just a waste of time, waste of energy, that was causing psychological distress for anyone around me. I said, hey, I got a bucket of no right next to me, so just put it in there. I'll get to it eventually.
Oh God, that's awesome. That is awesome. I'm looking at cons. So do we want to round out our hour about going back to the mindset of winners, and I guess what key things that we think are really prevalent for that winning mindset?
Yeah, do you want to kick off with should we do a couple each, and then
yeah. All right. So I talked about growth mindset. I know it sounds so businessy and yucky, but what it is not letting the fear, because you're going to have fear. We all have fear. It's within us, and you will fear a lot of things, but not letting that fear stop you from an opportunity or a change or a chance or something that's coming your way. Don't let the fear cause you doubt. Embrace it. Go for it. If you fail, it's awesome, because that means you are supposed to take a wonderful life lesson from it to the next opportunity or change that comes your way. If you never take an opportunity or embrace a change, you're not moving forward. And life is about falling forward. It's about getting messy. It's about screwing up and failing and then picking ourselves back up again with a huge tribe of people to support us. So just remember that mindset. I'm going to try it. If I fail, it's okay. I'm still going to love myself, and I'll still appreciate the fact that I actually went on a limb and tried to do this. So I'll kick off in round.
There's a good book for that called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway.
Oh,
Really good book. Highly recommend it. So
yeah, write that one down now too.
love it. Get to know fear. Don't make it an enemy. Work with it. Right? Just like people succeed, right? They don't succeed because they're always in favorable situations. They succeed because they know how to navigate unfavorable ones, and they know how to navigate with fear and anything else that can come up.
Yeah, it's like the difference between successful people and unsuccessful people is quite simple. You know, the unsuccessful ones stopped.
Never stop trying. Never stop trying.
And also the word you use there, bad situations, unfavorable situations. No, they're just situations. Someone's bad is another person's good. It just is. That's why just work the problem. And every time, any client of mine or myself or my son, anything pops up in life that people start freaking around me, I say, slow down. Let's just work the problem. That's all this is. Just one more problem in front of us. Not a big deal. We work the problem. The first thing we do in working the problem is who's on our team we can reach out to help us solve this problem. Yeah. So yeah, be humbly curious, work that problem, and define your personal why and what makes you happy. So when you do have those chaotic moments where you think I have to, those have to moments, say first, like you said, I don't have to do anything. And the first thing you do to slow yourself down is like for Gavin's happiness, all right, get some breeze on my face. For me, just have a good conversation. And what was yours, Lena, again?
Sharing a nugget of wisdom.
There you go. And all those things are calming. They're simple, and anyone can do them at any point. So define what yours is, keep it simple, and just keep working that problem.
Yeah. I like the theory of, the sun will still rise tomorrow. And you got this whole thing. People get bogged down with so much. And this time of year, it's really sad when I see a lot of the schools, they break up and the grades are given out, and you get kind of students who are young teenage students, and they end up like some of them commit suicide because they didn't get good grades, or the grades went all straight A's. And I'm like, your whole life was ahead of you, and you've just ended it because of the fact that you got B's instead of A's. And it upsets me, because I think, so much potential gone to waste, and I just can't imagine for me, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether my house burns down, whether my car gets stolen, whether my dog bites the postman, whatever, the sun will still rise tomorrow. And whatever challenges, if you want to call them, hurdles, whatever you want to name them, whatever way you want to label them, you get up, you carry on, you find another way to reach your goal and keep heading towards happiness one way or another. And that's it at the end of the day. Like you say, Robin, don't overcomplicate things. Keep it nice and simple. Don't kind of go off track.
Yeah. Gavin, you have seen some pain.
I have. Can you tell?
It comes out.
So, but yeah, I suppose the pain that I've seen throughout my life, and yeah, there has been a lot in many, many ways, but I'm a silver linings guy. And the way it works with me is, I didn't die from it. I'm still here. I still get the chance to fight another day. And it's made me stronger. It's made me tougher. It's made me more resilient. And it means whatever challenges I face, I can get out there and go and do it. So I wish
you're a bright, shining light and example for your daughter.
Yes.
I do my best there.
You know, Gav, I use something similar when I coach or teach or just have a conversation with people, and they're like, oh, I have to give constructive feedback and it's going to make me feel weird. I have to have this really embarrassing conversation. I have a challenging conversation. Oh, and they don't feel good about it. I said, listen, what's on the other side of that conversation? They're like, huh? I'm like, who are you having a conversation with? Blah, blah, blah. It's a human, right? They're like, yeah. So it's a human talking to another human. And I will tell them this. What do you fear? There's no one shooting at you. You're not going to get hurt. It's a conversation. You know this human. They're human. Just have it.
Yeah.
Just have the conversation. But I have noticed that a lot of times people fear having a conversation. And I'm like,
one of those fears. Fears are bad.
yeah.
I will add to that with one thing that a line that I hear a hell of a lot when people end up doing things that they've been frightened of for a long time, and I hear it time and time again. The one thing they all say is, that wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Yep.
And this is something even the world's most infamous intelligence agencies have realized, that you don't have to torture a man to get him to talk. Just the fear of the pain alone. You can do the whole kind of letting their own imagination run wild with what you're going to do, and that alone will get them to kind of go, don't bring those pliers near me. I'll tell you everything. And, so you're using their own mind against them. But this is what happens with people with fear. They manifest the fear inside their own mind. That fear multiplies, it grows, and it gets so much worse. And when they actually do it, and they go, actually, it's not anywhere near as bad as I thought it was. It makes them feel so much more kind of capable, and definitely it's so empowering. So, for anybody who is facing something, I mean, I did a skydive in Miami not so long back, and all the drive there, my wife was like, are you frightened? Not in the plane yet. Getting the rig on, are you frightened? No, not in the plane yet. Yeah, I got in the plane, and the guy's going to me, are you scared? No, so not jumping out yet. And the whole thing, it was my daughter's the same. She used to hate going to when she first started school. She used to hate going to school, and the only way we would wake her up in the morning, 6, 7 o'clock, and she would start crying straight away. I don't want to go to school. Don't want to go. So we'd say, look, you're not going yet. Don't worry about going to school yet, because you're not going yet. Worry about your breakfast first. That's what you're having first. And we had to break it down step by step by step. And then we'd eventually take her to school. And usually at the end of the school, we'd pick her up, and she'd be like, yeah, it wasn't that bad today.
The power of now.
Yeah, exactly. There we are again with the power of now. It's amazing, isn't it? It really is powerful. So that one line, it wasn't as bad as I thought. That's where people need to realize that a lot of their own fears, they are creating them, and it's
and those fears create have us fear the start. A lot of people fear the start because they fear things that are in the future, because again, they're not focused on the now.
Yeah,
I was just going to say, fear lives in the future.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going to happen. It's all made up. It's assumptions, it's expectations, but it's in the future. Live now.
Right.
Think what's happening
right
now.
In this moment. Am I still breathing? Am I still eating? Can I still drink something? Yet right now, all is okay.
Yeah.
We'll just make a thought for this moment and this moment. So that's it.
One of my favorite lines my old CO used to say when the young recruits are going running up to him, they go, and he'd say, whoa, calm down. Nobody's dead or pregnant. Slow down.
Yeah.
Tell me something. And that was his saying, nobody's dead or pregnant. And it was one of the things, the first time I heard it, my reaction was the same. I chuckled. But the more I thought about it, I thought, actually, he's right. The sun will still rise tomorrow, and you can calm down. There's a few laughy faces coming at that, I see. Thank you. But yeah, it was something that the more I thought about it, I thought, yeah, he's actually really right with this. There's no need a lot of the time for people to start panicking and freaking out over a lot of things that usually when you slow down and, like you say, Robin, live in the moment and think about, all right, how do we deal with it? That pace change, that perception change, it alters everything. It stops that unnecessary panic. And then you work on solving the problem rather than panicking through the problem.
And one of the things that's really, I'm sorry, Lena, one key, easy thing to do that is if you make people around you feel safe at all times, which creates those relationships. And you do that by being transparent, by being open, by being honest, by being vulnerable. And then you have competency with that. In other words, do the best you can to be what people are saying these days, be sincere and organic. because then you're empowering people with knowledge about you. So you make them feel safe. And when you do that, life's simple.
And be humble. Please be
Oh,
humble. That
absolutely.
humility is huge. I will say throughout my course of life, there's no more than five people who to me are the top of the top leaders who at any point I would listen to anything they tell me to do. And I love to listen to them talk because of all the qualities that we talked about. Amazing, amazing, amazing people. And I could pick those 5 out, and I'm in touch with a few of them to
That's
this.
awesome.
And I constantly on Facebook, like, hey, I just want to say thank you. One is really the guy who I consider in charge of my whole career shift to being an interrogator, which at the time was Commander Maloney. He retired Captain Maloney.
That's the one that's the one I asked you about. So what did he see in you? He saw something in you. Yes, go ahead. Keep going.
That's it. And every so often when I do like a podcast or something, or a book comes out, I'm like, sir, it's all because of you. And he's like, oh, but it's all because of him. But anyway, being humble. And there was something, a quick tip for all of you guys. We're talking about not letting fear overcome us. You're going to have it. Don't pretend it's not there. Don't anti-fear. Just say, okay, I have fear. This is what it is. But do I really need to be fearful? Because is it truth? Maybe not. Did I make it up? Did I assume it? Yeah, I did. So really, where's the fear coming from, right? But a great way to check yourself, to stop thinking the thoughts that lead to fear, is to do a quick breath. You breathe in for a count of 3, and you hold it for a count of 3, and exhale for a count of 3. And I just did this in my yoga class last night, but it centers the mind right here, right now. Because when you're breathing is right now. Right? Like I'm breathing right now. I know I am, but when I do that breath, it takes all my thoughts right to here, right now.
Yep.
And those other thoughts go away.
Yeah, I love the way you deal with that, and the way that for most people to put it into perspective, if you put it down to like a worst case and best case scenario, and if you're in an everyday situation, say you want to go and ask your boss for a raise or a promotion, right? And you've got this fear of going in and asking, and you're worried and you're nervous and whatever else. Just basically turn around and say to yourself, right, what's the worst case scenario? What's the best case scenario? Worst case scenario, I don't get the promotion. In which case, I'm exactly where I am right now. Nothing's changed. I've still got my job. Nothing is any different to what it was 20 minutes ago. Best case scenario, I get a promotion or a raise. Well, hey, I tell you what, it's a win-win. Go in there, and that should be enough in itself to make you realize that you're not going to suddenly have the world open up and swallow you, and you're not going to be ridiculed or whatever the case may be. And let's just turn around and say that you walk in there and you ask your boss for a raise, and he does crack up laughing and point at you and say, you think you deserve a raise? Look at it as something as if you can say, right, okay, now what's the positive from that? What's the positive from that? I know I can look for another job where I can get a better job and a better pay with a better boss. So look at every worst and best case scenario, look at the outcomes from it, and you'll realize most of the time that even the worst case scenario isn't actually as bad as what you think it is.
Not that bad.
And most of the times, the way you strategize those promotions is, one, you walk in, like Lena's been saying, with confidence balanced with humility. And the way you have confidence, it's easy to have confidence when you know you've brought immense value to the people that you're working for and made their lives and jobs easier. Now, if you did all those things very consciously, that I brought this value and I was of service to them, and they don't promote you, now we have a different choice, because that's an unhealthy place. Yeah. So when you go in, you should have confidence that they should give you a raise, because I can actually articulate how I brought value, made your life and job easier, and I touched these pain points for myself, for others and you, and so that's how you get promoted, and that's how you get valued in return. And if you're not, then we need to think about where we need to be.
Love it.
Absolutely. I love
Definitely.
it. Well, gentlemen, it is 7:40.
I know we've gone over our hour. Oh dear. First off, Robin, thank you so much.
I know. Thank you again.
I love doing it to you all.
Good.
Can we get you on again?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Brilliant.
I love that.
So many topics, so many books, so many things to share. Absolutely.
Can everybody give us a quick thumbs up if you liked what you saw tonight, or a quick comment saying yes, just to let us know that you like the topic, and if you want us to do something a bit more like this next week. And look at all these thumbs coming in. Brilliant. That's what we want. Oh, fantastic. Thank you, everybody. What a great night. So
you
yeah,
guys
Rob,
so
thank you
much.
so much for being
Hi,
here
Judith.
and giving us your valuable time. Everybody is
Thank you,
very
Brent.
appreciative. I'm seeing a lot of comments and thumbs up from
Yeah.
everybody. So,
Yay.
yeah,
It's a pleasure being with you all as always.
Alicia, gratitude. Thank you. I love it.
And likewise, we got a coordinated time so I can have the three of us on my podcast together as well. So that'll be a hoot and good time. So we'll and the world will get sick of seeing the three of us together. Now they won't, because we'll keep coming up with cool topics of conversation, because we can keep diving deep on so many of these areas.
Yeah.
You know, we've done very broad tonight. I think next time we should look at one and maybe drill down on one and go into the nuts and bolts of it. What do you say?
I like it.
Sure.
Yeah. Brilliant. All right then. So let's not keep rubbing too much longer. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you,
Robin.
All right,
we'll
thanks,
try and be
guys.
on YouTube for next week. Somebody screwed up.
Hey, Gav, trust me, it's all good.
But yeah, I will get that sorted out. I'd love to blame YouTube or whatever else, but no, I'm going to take the blame.
Ownership.
Exactly. So yeah, thank you everybody for joining us for tonight. Robin, where can everybody find you?
Sure. I'm easy. Peopleformula.com, all one word. Lots of my stuff there, the podcast, Forged by Trust podcast, where you can actually watch the episodes or listen of Lena and Gavin themselves, which were absolutely fantastic. They trended immensely well, by the way, especially and it was fun having Gavin because his whole family had a watch party for the premiere of his. That was a hoot. But yeah, so there, and whether it's coaching, training, online stuff, and I'm hoping by Monday or early next week, I will have my free course of the 4 pillars and 4 keys of effective communication. It's about 45 minutes long to take you go through. And it's my 4 pillars of seeking the thoughts and opinions of others, talking in terms of their priorities, validation, and giving choices. It's my free primer that I'm giving out. It'll be the links for everything on there. So check that out, if you will, next week. Of course, there'll be upsells for anything else you want of me, but that one will be free.
Nice. Oh, God. Yeah, we'll share the link in here too. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Awesome.
Yeah, fun.
Brilliant. Right then, close it up then, Lena.
All right. Well, thank you again, everyone, for watching. Robin, thank you. Gav, thank you for moderating. You'll see the 3 of us talking again, whether it's here or on YouTube. Dance. And we hope that we gave you some tools to use. And yeah, we will keep you posted in this Facebook group about what we're going to discuss next and where we're going to be. So, and also, guys, start threads, start conversations. If you want, put some questions in for myself, Gav, Robin. We're here to answer you guys. We want to foster good dialogue and conversation in this group. We're all interested in human behavior. That's why we're all here. So let's start some dialogue. All right. And I think that's it. And now we're going to end, and I'll give a countdown of 3, 2, 1. Good night and stay safe.